you got?
We're trying to change something.
Skateboarding is a way of learning how to redefine the world around you.
The owners of this country don't care about the poor and you know.
Now, baby, push me. Push me again now.
Screaming at a wall.
I just want to make sure that we can do this. So then, like next time, I just leave it. You look great, man. So next time we leave it just all set up.
No, we're just gonna do it now.
Because you're a bodybuilder of some sort.
Dude, I work out, man. Oh, we're recording still. What's up, you miscreants, you misfits, you outcasts of society? We're just gonna jump into this. Man, special host, co-host, Sick boy, the dude I started. Where is he at? Dude, it's January 17th. That's a special day. I mean, it's a special day for a couple of reasons, but one of the main reasons
you were released from the clink on this day.
2002, man, in my concussion shirt that Jonathan Hay sent me.
That's really cool.
It's so cool. Yeah, man. So
I think I paroled in a concussion shirt too.
Did you really? You don't have any? You don't have any pictures?
I do have. I'm gonna have to dig those up.
Dang. For the people that didn't watch the first couple of episodes or hear the first couple of episodes of Screaming at a Wall, who are you?
I'm Paul Morrison, also known as Sick Boy. H72927 was my number.
Damn. And you're the dude that got me into punk rock.
It's important.
Funk rock.
Ska funk, Rasta punk.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're interested in checking out the history of Sick Boy, you can check out I think it was episode 3 that we did like a little bit of backstory on you growing up as a Skino Reno punk rocker back in the 80s.
We got to the point where I had finally seen a group of skateboarders and started skateboarding a local ramp.
Damn. So what are we doing on this special episode?
I don't know. What would you like to do? It's in celebration of you being free for 20 years. No,
20 years. Yeah, 20. I mean, this is the 20-year anniversary. Do you not celebrate like the time the amount of time you've been out?
It comes by, it comes by every once in a while, and I pay attention to it slightly, but not much because I don't feel connected with any of that anymore. I mean, I don't even know what it's like in there anymore because they got rid of everything that kept us kind of sane. They're just fucking braiding torn up boxer shorts nowadays, I'm sure. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, but they just got tablets though, which is pretty dope.
That's a whole different level of things too, though. But I also see that as just the whole Orwellian thing, you know what I mean? You got your tablet now and you'll be happy in your little box, So.
Yeah. Do you see correlations to that sort of setup to what's going on out here right now?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, a lot of people that have read 1984 are like, this is it. This is
really it.
This is happening. I think it's trippy that there's like people from the past that had, I don't even want to say the foresight, but maybe it was just that. But I feel like it was on some other psychic level of being able to see into the future, or be connected to the future through memory energies or
but also the history repeats itself too, especially if they don't make changes or if they put a structure in place for it to repeat itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, to me, we just really follow the same path as we've always followed. We've talked about this before. Especially like going through therapy now, and I look at society like in the same way, like paralleling this sort of human experience. And so, most people that get stuck remain there, and they're not really doing it. Like they're kind of doing shit to get out of that cycle, but they're not really invested fully. So they really never are committed to that change that they know that they need to do. And then if you get stuck in that, you repeat it over and over. And then another thing too, I mean, this is even like within like the system itself in my eyes, is that we're trying to do all these things, right? We're trying to create all these movements. We're trying to back all these positions for change, but we're trying to change within that system. And I feel like that will be a failed attempt over and over, because you know, it's like the workers union and fighting for workers' rights, like within a system that was created to just basically capitalize off of slave labor and, you know, working class people. I mean, that's what it is.
Well, that's the structure I speak of. I mean, that was what was created years ago to make sure that every marble fell right in its perfect place, you know?
Yeah.
And I read a book about all, you know, it was a book. I don't know if I talked about this on here yet, but there was a time that I read a book that was about business that was really, I mean, a fascinating, you know, look into how true business works. And that's like corporate businesses. And it discussed the whole concept of the structure. And once you create the structure, that anything you put into that structure will always land exactly where it's supposed to land. And it won't even know that it's part of like a so-called conspiracy theory or a, you know, a grandiose scheme. It's just, they're just part of it. They just do their thing.
I was gonna say, could you give an example of something like now that is?
Well, news reporters, I mean, they fall right into their little hole. They don't, you know, they might start out as journalists and believe that, oh, I'm going to make a change and we're going to expose this and we're going to tell people about that. And as they go along, they start realizing that money is pushing back against them and that money has power behind it. And they're just, you know, they finally realize, and they don't even need to be told necessarily. They just realize that, hey, if I go this route, then I have no job. And if I just keep going with the flow, then I'll be taken care of and I'll be able to retire and I'll be able to love my sports teams and be into my religion and, you know, the whole.
Yeah. How about them Raiders?
I don't follow sports.
I don't either. I heard they lost though. So anyway, well, I think that's interesting that you bring that up, because I've been doing some editing for Michael Santos, the dude that we had. I think he was like episode 4, episode 5, the guy that did 26 or 27 years, and now he does. You know, he's gotten out and he's pursued, you know, a life of basically creating programs and courses for people that are incarcerated, but more from a business mindset. But, you know, it's interesting that he had brought up in one of the interviews that I edited with somebody is that, you know, some of these people that are getting popped for these white collar crimes, it's not even really about the justice of the crime, because I mean, it's crazy. Some of this, I can't really talk about it too much, but some of this stuff, you're like, this is what they're spending their time on doing, is popping these people on these charges. And, you know, it really gets to the point where it's really about individuals' aspiration to want to get higher up in the hierarchy of things. So it's like, man, if I can take these people down, then I'll have a name for myself, and then I can continue to grow and get more notoriety, and then be put into another level, another position of power. And I think that is connected to what you were talking about with like journalism is, or really, I think a lot of things and everything, right? Yes. It's the hierarchy of everything. And I think prison is a microcosm of that. And you can really see that how, you know, like with a magnifying glass, like, you know, the hierarchy structure and how it's set up in there.
It goes to such a degree of like an ant colony, and to schools in America, to the high school model, to the prison model. You know what I mean? It's a structure, man, and it's made to just get people going, and then, you know, okay, you aspire to do this, you aspire to work your ass off till you achieve, you know, this little amount, and then you got to be happy with it. And possibly the government might take it. The banks might decide that they need their fucking houses back, and your house is one of them. And so they foreclose on all this stuff, and then they get the bailout from the government, because the government's going to make sure that this ball keeps rolling. You know what I mean? No matter what, no matter Democrat, no matter Republican, you know, I can't, there's no one I can look at and go, oh, this person's got, you know.
No, it's turned into something completely that is, you can't wrangle it in. I feel at this point, there's just no, again, you're trying to make these changes within the system that exists that's already polluted, and there is just, we have passed the Rubicon as a species. So going back to talking about hierarchy, how was the hierarchy for you when you went to prison as being a punk rocker, and how did you deal with the hierarchy and that system that was put in place? Because I think that's, for us, like being out here, we see that same thing going on, and that's one of the reasons that we are like able to resist it, or to be able to see things in a different way. How is it for you, like when you first got busted? And you did 8 years?
Yeah, I did 8 years.
8 years. Did we talk about your crime at all?
No, we haven't went down that road. We haven't
Let's
up to the crime, and we haven't done the crime, and then but where you're starting right now would be where we'd go after my crime and being charged.
Yeah, well, let's actually talk about your crime, because I don't even think I really knew when we were busted together what you were in there for. And I don't know if it's funny that it's interesting that I never really asked you. You tell me about it. Tell the listeners and the viewers about
The whole thing, how it began and everything.
yeah, a little bit like of the buildup of going to the crimes that you got busted for, because they were multiple.
Yeah, there were.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm skateboarding. I'm in Southern California. I'm pursuing, you know, possible sponsorship or whatever money, some supportive system out of skateboarding, doing skateboarding. And so I'm skating, going to punk shows all the time, but I'm working. I have 1 or 2 jobs at a time. And so I have 2 roommates, and one of my roommates is at work and the other one's off work with me. We both have the day off. So we cruise to the store to get some food, and on our way back from the store, and I'm driving the roommate's car who's at work. So it's me and Billy are in Jason's car, and Jason's at work. And a drunk driver, as we're driving down the street to our house, to our apartment, a drunk driver swerves into me and nails me and pushes me into a pole, and the vehicle wraps end to end, you know, around the pole, and I'm in the driver's seat. Billy's crushed up against the pole. And so anyways, that's a long, big, drawn out story right there in and of itself, just the crash itself, because then a guy came, the vehicle was on fire, I was knocked out, Billy was knocked out. A guy came, popped. We have electrical cords everywhere because we hit a electrical pole. So electrical cords are hitting the ground, snapping and stuff. Starts a fire. This guy comes up, opens, pops the cap on the gas so that the vehicle doesn't explode, which was pretty cool. Who I met later on in prison. I met that guy that did that.
The drunk driver, or the guy that?
No, the guy that popped the gas.
That
cap.
popped the gas. Oh, okay.
Drug driver.
Okay.
But anyways, so Billy, I guess, wakes up at some point and he crawls out. He's destroyed. He took it all into this side of his body, so to his right side of his body. So he's smashed. His arm is smashed, but he crawls out of the vehicle, and I'm passed out behind the wheel, and I'm stuck in there because the door is destroyed. I got hit on this side, and the door is destroyed and stuck, and I'm passed out, and I guess I've wrapped the wheel. I've like bent it. And so they had to use the jaws of life to get me out. So they get me out. I survive all that. Billy survives. We wind up in the hospital, all that crap. And then, so I can't work, right? I'm pretty damaged, so I can't work. So I go and I file for disability through my work, which I was working at Subway across the street from Santa Rosa Junior College at the time. And I was a manager, you know, I ran the place. And when I went to file for disability, the owner of that Subway stated that I had been fired the day before the car accident. Yeah. And denied me disability, and pretty much sent me into a spiral at that point, because then I didn't know what the hell to do. I had to pay rent. I had my vehicle. I had a Toyota FJ40 at that time, a Land Cruiser that was in the shop, and I had to pay for it to get it out to be able to travel around. And so pretty much the world came crashing down on me at that point. And I decided that I wasn't going to put up with the world anymore, society and things the way they were. And so I followed the example of movies that I really enjoyed when I was young, which is like Wisdom, Repo Man. That was Then, This Is Now. Crazily enough, and not a lot of Emilio Estevez starring movies, but it's because he was in some of the greatest. Like,
You said Emilio?
Emilio Estevez, yeah.
Yeah. What was the first one that you mentioned? Not Then and Now. What was the first?
Wisdom.
Wait, I've never even heard of that one.
Emilio Estevez again, him and Demi Moore. Yeah,
oh wow.
So what he does is he loses his shit because he can't get a job because he had a crime when he was young. So he freaking loses his shit and sees that these farmers are all losing their farms across the Midwest. And so he goes into each bank and he burns all of the farm files so that the farmers could all keep their farms and shit. So that's Wisdom, which is a really, really good movie.
I'm going to type that into my phone right now.
Yeah,
that sounds amazing.
But that one's, you know, so like you get kind of like the vigilante, you know, doing good guy there, but then you get Repo Man and you got the, you know, the skinhead, the girl, and the other dude that are doing armed robberies, and, you know, and
that was me.
Yeah. And then and by the way, that was my nickname when I was younger, was Wisdom in the whole system. But so there you had that, and then you had Repo Man, and then you had That Was Then, This Is Now, which all have armed robberies in them. They all kind of correlate, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna go do some armed robberies then. And
yeah, I'm probably at the same time watching Goonies, like going on like treasure hunts and shit. Like going to rob stuff. So that's what sparked it.
Started it all. Man. And so the first place I hit, of course, is what? Subway.
I have a question for you. Was this like when Subway used to have like the old vintage newspaper?
It looked like it was like yeah, Subway.
Okay.
And shit. Yeah. All the benches were like that. And there was all that Subway maps on the walls. And we used to cut the bread down the middle on each side and then pull it out, then put everything in, and then put the bread, you know, it was weird and stupid shit.
So it was a different Subway though. It wasn't the one that you worked at.
He owned 7 of them in town. So so I began, it was a different one. So I began at one further south of town and hit that one. And the way that I did these armed robberies was mind-blowing to the people trying to find me, because what I would do was I would mark the place and I'd check all areas around it and figure out the most like stealthy way, ninja style way to get in there and get out of there and not have anybody see me and not have any idea where I came from or where I went to. So I'd utilize the 101, Highway 101, you know, which is 5 lanes on one side, a barrier in the middle, 5 lanes on the other. How the hell is that? You know, that's Frogger, man.
Yeah.
And the timing has to be perfect, you know, or else you're dead.
Damn. So you would rob them and then you would run across the freeway?
Well, on 3 or 4 of them I did, yes. Then other ones I would pull off. I was convicted of 11 armed robberies. I might have done more, but I was convicted of 11. And yeah, well, the statute of limitations is gone. Yeah. Anyway, they can't.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, yeah.
So walk me through your your mindset and what you were going through on the very first one. How
adrenaline, man.
Just adrenaline.
Oh.
So that first one, did you do the setup where you were going to run across the freeway? And so what would you have on, like, you would have your car on the other side, or? Oh, okay. In what area was this?
Santa Rosa.
Oh, Santa Rosa.
Yeah.
Damn.
But it started in Santa Rosa, then it moved from Santa Rosa all the way down to San Francisco.
Gotcha. Okay, I thought you said you were in SoCal for some reason.
Oh no.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was confused there for a second. So, so you started off with Subway. What happened? What did you end up doing after the Subways?
Well,
That's some Robin Hood shit, by the way.
I felt horrible for scaring the people working there, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. What type of person were you just in general prior to or before doing that type of stuff? I mean, you were a punk rocker, so there was definitely like
he was a fighter, skateboarder, punk rocker, you know what I mean? But I also have morals and ethics, you know what I mean? So I'm not a vicious monster or anything, but I would definitely stand up for myself.
So I mean, yeah, you were a punk rocker. You had your certain aggressions about you, but I mean, for the most part, when it came to, I guess, regular folk, it wasn't something that you wanted to like cause harm or be violent towards others for the most part, right? Unless they were like jocks or some shit.
Yeah, I just fought the society that fought me.
Right. So yeah, you wanted to rob the Subway. You wanted to rob the
I wanted to pay him back.
The entity. Yeah. Damn. That was the trigger right there for you. So yeah, walk me through that first one. Like, yeah, really just the first one, so I can get the sense of where you were at in your mind and like the setup for it, everything.
So I got in a hold of a gun. It was a double barrel Derringer, 30 caliber rim fire. It was
Like the little tiny ones, right? Like a lighter or something.
But it'd blow. I mean, it'd blow your head clear off if I were to accidentally shoot you or purposely shoot you. So, hence, I never loaded it, and that made it twice as dangerous for me because now I'm running around with a gun, and I can't even shoot back at you if you start shooting at me. So,
right.
So that's why the stealthiness of doing these hits was what I went for.
That would have been a sight to see, though, like the cashier at Subway, like just busting out like a double barrel shotgun when you go to rob them. Yeah.
Now, so what I did was I parked on the other side of Highway 101, and then I crossed. But this is at night, of course. I've done most of my robberies at night. Only a few were during the day because it was needed at the time. It was an urgent situation.
So you go in there. Were there any customers when you walked into the place?
No, I cased the place like all. Okay, so I parked on the other side of Highway 101. I crossed both lanes. It's at night, you know, so I can see headlights and all that crap. It's very important if you're playing Frogger. And I get over on the other side. So then I'm just outside of the parking lot of Subway, and I'm watching it, and there's no customers, and I'm watching the shutdown. Now, remember, I'm a former manager, so I know exactly the timing of this restaurant, you know what I mean, how it's going to work. And so they start doing the cleanup, and it's just one person at this one, the first time. It gets more difficult when there's more people. And so there's one person, and I have such an amazing amount of adrenaline going because I've never done an armed robbery. I've never run in on, you know, anybody like this. This is new to me. And so I just pretty much, you know, put on a freaking facade of this is who I am right now, and I'm going to go do this. And I run in.
Did you have a mask on or anything?
No, I wore sunglasses down to like here. I wore my cap far down. I wore sunglasses down to here. And I would always have a long sleeve on and sometimes gloves. But I purposely never touched anything. You know what I mean? Everything had to be handed to me. I mean, I'll explain it. So I run in, I throw down on the cashier, and they freak out, of course, like anybody would when their gun is being pointed at them, a double barrel at that, you know, and so, you know, they don't know what to do and trying to figure out if they should run or not. And I just said, give me all the money, and I have them put it in a Subway bag because they're right there next to the register. And I said, give me all the money except for the pennies. I want all of it. I want your rolls of coins. I want all of it. I want everything under the drawer. And so this was a guy, and the guy gave me everything, and then was because he was so scared, he was going to reach for the penny, and then he stopped himself, and that theme occurs again later on in a different robbery where someone does try to give me the pennies, and I yell, "Not the pennies!" So because what the hell, man, I don't need that shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm ultimately asking for everything, you know. So they put all that in the bag. I put them on the floor, and I made them count to 10. That was my MO, and that was at every single robbery. It's the same thing.
Man, you should have added like getting like a foot long Philly cheesesteak. Like that would have been your MO.
And all of that I thought of. I just didn't have the time to stay in there. You know what I mean? I had to get out.
No pennies, but I want a 6-inch tuna sandwich.
Yeah, no, if there was this order ahead crap back then, I would have had it ordered already. It'd be like, and those. But yeah, so I get the stuff, and I run, and I jump the wall, and I cross Highway 101 again, back to the vehicle, jump in the vehicle, drive home, count the money, you know, take it. That first one was something. Was over 1,000. It was like 1,500 with all the change and stuff, all the rolls of change. But then I take that, so I pay rent, right? That was the first urgent. What am I gonna do? So I do that, and I pay rent, and then I have money left over, and I'm having fun. I'm going to the city, and I'm skateboarding, and you know, and I don't have a job now, and like things are going pretty easy. And I'm like, well, shit, I'm running out of money again. Well, I'm gonna have to do another armed robbery, you know what I mean? And that's how the ball got rolling. And I was just doing them day to day when I needed them. If we were going on a trip, I'd do them to go on a trip. I had a friend named Paul Costa that we were both sponsored by Concrete Jungle Skate Shop in Katati. And so we'd be going to the city all the time because we were hanging out at the Safeway there at the big curb, and we, you know, met all the different people that are up and coming pros, and stuff would flow through, and Gons would be there and shit. It was cool. But that was what we were doing. So that was kind of like the motivation. Like, I got to keep this cycle going. I got to keep coming to the city. I got to keep hitting Fort Miley. I got to keep hitting Safeway. I wasn't big on Embarcadero, but we would just skate the streets. I mean, the city was great back then. So yeah, and that was just the lifestyle of just armed robbery, have fun, run out of money, armed robbery, have fun, run out of money, and over and over and over.
Were you telling anybody that you were doing this, or were you just keeping this really low key?
Only a couple people knew that I was doing this. Paul Costa knew that I was doing this. Carrie Swank, his girlfriend, knew that I was doing this. Jason Bridgman knew that I was doing this. Jason Bridgman was actually involved with it, and he wound up doing a little bit of time because he got caught doing one on camera. So yeah, it was, yeah, but nobody else. So it was kind of, you know, an inside little snicker, you know, and people would say, oh, there's this armed robber that's just nailing places out of the blue, and they can't figure out who it is. Wonder who that is.
So at what point did you go from like popping the subways to a different place?
When we needed the money. So
how would you
so I'd have like Paul.
How would you pick?
I know.
Yeah.
So I would look at a place a few times, and then I'd plan it out to where if we could get the off ramp of 101, say we're going to the city, right? Because that's mostly where we're going, is the city all the time. And we get on the off ramp on 101, then I'd have them cross the street and pull up just to the side of the on ramp. And then I'd go down and I would hit the place that I had been watching. And then I'd run up the on ramp on the on ramp and jump in the vehicle. And then we'd take off to the city. So they were all like that. They were all like immediate, like boom, boom.
So
boom.
it was more about the location of the place versus whether you thought you would be able to just get away with it or they had more money.
Right. Because there was a bank around the corner or like a credit union type bank around the corner from my place. And I definitely would have made a ton of money there, but I would have gotten that too.
Had you ever thought about robbing a bank?
My way through that whole entire situation, but there was no way I was going to not get caught. You know, I mean, there's way more security in a fucking federal credit union or a bank,
right?
You know, in a subway or or a fucking gas station or a convenience store, or
I feel like that would be the next step if that's where you were going before you got popped.
But I was going to quit, at one point.
Yeah, that's what they all say. Yeah. Are you still, your volume still there?
Is what?
Oh, okay. No, you sound a little bit farther away. What was like the craziest robbery that you did that I guess put you in a situation where they all like pretty fluid?
No, there was a really bad one in the middle of the day. It was a subway owned by that guy. It was on Piner Road in Santa Rosa, which is the road that leads to where the skate park is now. Pretty sure that was Piner, yeah. But I ran in. So this is one that I had to sit outside for a while, lay on the grass like I was just, hanging out. I'd smoke a couple cigarettes and I'd just look over my shoulder every once. So this is in a strip mall. So there was like a Subway, a Little Caesars, a dry cleaner, like an Asian restaurant or something. And so I'm really ballsy by this time. This is where I'm probably.
How many subways had you hit by that point?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You had hit 5 up into that.
I hit 5 before that.
Did it occur to you, or did you think about maybe they might be scoping out different subways? You know what I mean? Like stakeout. Because
they should have, but they didn't.
They didn't.
And they were chasing most. Which I didn't keep any of that. When I got out, I got rid of all that shit. Which every once in a while I think about looking back at it, but I'm like, no, just go down that road.
Yeah, wipe the hands clean.
Exactly. I have much better thing going on than fucking with that shit. But
so
anyway,
you're at the strip mall, just hanging out on the grass, smoking doobs, barefoot.
Yeah, having a cigarette and waiting for the customers to leave. And once the customers have left, there's 2 girls in there. And this is the most difficult robbery I've ever done. There's 2 girls in there, and I run in on them, and they freak out. And they decide that they're going to run, and I never am prepared for this type of crap, They're going to run out the employee's door and try to get past me and get outside. And so I'm like flying over, I'm flying over the counter, by the cash register to catch them, to stop them, and then they're already into the dining room, and then I'm flying over the counter into the dining room, and then they're back in the freaking kitchen area in the the sub making area. And I'm like, just stop, and I'm like losing my shit now I'm freaking scared to no end, and they are too. So I'm just like, stop, and okay, just don't shoot us. And like, I'm not gonna shoot you, I just want the money. And again, the whole thing, all the bills, everything under the drawer, all the rolled coins. And this was the girl that at the end, she grabs a handful of pennies and just shoves them into the bag. And I was like, not the pennies. And the other girls just freaking out, like worried that I'm going to shoot her because of the pennies, but I wasn't going to shoot her because of the pennies. I had no bullets. But, and I wasn't even going to hurt her. You know what I mean? It wasn't my intention.
Right.
So then I get them on the ground and counting to 10, and I take off out of there, daylight, dude, at lunch, just past lunchtime, probably around 1:30, daytime. And I take off out of there. I go through an apartment complex. I go over train tracks. I go through two freaking like storage yards, fences, and wind up at the car and take off to I think we went to Santa Barbara. But and so when I was in jail getting ready to go to prison, they were interviewing the people that I had robbed, unfortunately, which was a sad thing, because I became a pretty big thing. I was on a thing called Prime Suspect, which was previous to America's Most Wanted. And
that was a national program.
It was local, but it was local all over the place. Like I think most big towns had Prime Suspect, because that became the whole structure of that became America's Most Wanted.
Have you ever tried to sort out to look for the episode?
No, I guess I could.
I'm sure it's somewhere.
I've seen it. You know what I mean?
You've seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. I saw it while in jail. Saw the whole thing.
Oh yeah, because it's post. But
and then I saw because then I was captured, so they wanted to show the whole concept of it. But the girl that I was the nicest, I mean, I wasn't the nicest. Come on, I was holding a gun to her, but I was not mean to these girls. And the one girl, I was trying to be just as kind as I could to her, besides having a gun and scaring the life out of her. But she was like, he was horrible. I hope he goes away forever. And I'm just like sitting in jail going, fuck, man, I was pretty cool to you.
You shouldn't have never yelled about the pennies. It's funny, like the one thing that you did get angry about is like the thing that she remembered as the entire scenario,
Oh yeah.
So you robbed Subways, and then what other places did you rob?
Convenience stores, gas stations.
So you weren't even, you were just
whatever, AM, PM.
Yeah. So you weren't bringing in like a ton of money. Just
that's why I did so many. Because like I said, I would get this little chunk. I'd pay the bills. I'd go have fun, and then I'm out of money. What now?
Damn. So you were getting to that point where you're like, I need to bump it up.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Well, then it gets into a whole different world of stuff before I get busted is, excuse me. Then I start figuring out the drug trade in San Francisco and in the Bay Area. And there's these things called raves that are getting really big at this time.
What year is this?
This is 90, 91.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me. Raves are getting really popular.
Glow sticks and ring pops and Dr. Seuss hats.
But yeah, it's previous to where that's all really popular, though. It's still like you get the card, you go to the one corner at the one time, and then there'll be a person there that'll tell you the address that you can go to, and you know what I mean. It was underground. You had to know the people to get to the different raves. Well, then I went to a few of those and realized, damn, man, there's a lot of money at these things, because all these idiots, and I didn't really connect with a lot of these raver types. I was like, these guys are all packing tons of money because they're buying drugs and shit left and right. There's bars always at these raves, and the bars are fucking, just booze is flying out to everybody. So I took it out of my hands of being like, okay, I'm not going to mess with mom and pop stuff. I'm only going to hit corporate stores, which is what I stuck to as far as convenience stores and gas stations and subways. And then I went after the most dangerous animal of them all. I went after humans. And that was when I started really making money. And because I went after drug dealers, so it was easy. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know how far down this rabbit hole you want to go because it gets crazy. But
well, how did that even come about?
I saw a big deal go on in front of me. I saw a lot of money, and didn't even have a weapon on me. I had a cigarette case because I thought I was fancy back then. I'd like put my cigarettes in, and you could keep them from getting broken. I'd wear them in a leather jacket.
Right. You thought you were Mike Ness from Social.
Yeah. Clip it. Ooh, I gotta smoke. But I took the edge, and then so I followed this dealer downstairs because I saw all the money that he had, and he was dealing ecstasy. And I followed him downstairs into the little private areas, and kind of just cased him out. Was like watching him, waiting, seeing what's going on, and then wound up getting high off of some weed and stuff while I was there. And then he goes walking out. And so I took the edge of my cigarette case and I stuck it to his back like it was a gun. And I told him, I said, I'm going to fucking put a hole through you if you don't hand me all that money right now. And he handed me all the money. And I said, okay, now I want all the drugs. And he gave me all the drugs. And I fucking took him, smacked him in the side of the head and threw him down the stairs. And I went up. This is a 3-story rave, by the way. So I went up to the main floor, then I went up to the top floor. And then once all that shit started going, once like I could hear him having an issue down there, then I went back down to the main floor through the side door, because what he was doing was he had moved his people to the front of the rave, which is like the entrance doors. And so he was over there. I went over here. I went out the side door and I ran to the truck that had brought me there. The guy's truck. And I jumped in there and I just sat there and I started counting the money. And I was like, holy shit. And I was in thousands this time.
Yeah. But was this like a random thing? You just saw it go down and you decided to do it?
That was the first time. Yeah.
Yeah. And you had not even planned that. It just kind of happened. Damn.
Yeah, it just happened. And then then I had all these drugs, and then so I'm like getting rid of the drugs at raves. I'd go to raves and fucking, sell off the X and stuff. And then there became a time where ecstasy mostly was just like a truck stop speed, like 357s, Black Beauties, cross tops, all those just really smashed up. And then like a little bit of the ecstasy in there. And so then the people would believe they were having the same experience, and then they'd tell other people, hey, buy this. So then I was selling all of that kind of crap and making huge amounts of money, because like I said, that rave scene was gigantic. And I'm just all over everywhere. I'm all over the Bay Area. I'm freaking, all the way in deep in East Bay, and then I'm in the South Bay, and then I'm in Frisco, and then I'm in North Bay, and I'm freaking living.
Are you getting like a reputation at this point, or is it still a pretty low key, like what you're doing?
On the down low for sure. But people who know me know that, like, if Paul Costa were to ever come on this show and talk about stuff, he could like really say like, holy shit, the stuff that he would do, because I am the guy doing it. He's the guy observing what I'm doing, and he's getting a whole different perspective than I am.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And he's over there going, holy shit.
When people tell me about some of the stuff, like just that I was doing, because you're experiencing it, so it doesn't seem like it's like I don't know. It's just, and then you're like humble about it too, which is, like, I don't know. But yeah, when someone else is telling us doing
something I was doing, I don't
know. Yeah. Were you afraid at any point that these people that you were robbing were going to be at these raves that you were dealing at?
I would, well, of course, you always got to be careful. So what I would do is I would get to the raves early where the giant line was outside. I'd work that line, and then I'd cut to another place, and then I'd go deal with that. And then I had a girl back then she would infiltrate raves. Like, she was friends with a lot of the promoter type people, and she would infiltrate them, and then she would start working the system to where, like, if she could get the tickets out on the sidewalk, then we'd charge $5 more per ticket. It was just everything we did was just what's called a grift. It was just trying to make more money. Take this little bit and make more.
And that all sparked from the fuckhole at Subway. Not
well, if you get to that, yeah.
Not giving you your dues. Well, yeah, I mean, it's addicting like anything else. Like, once you get into a lifestyle like that, it becomes addicting. Just, it's more about that rush than it really is about obtaining anything. For me, it was just, I loved that rush.
because the money didn't matter. I mean, it mattered just for the things that I needed money for.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I didn't care about it in its essence. And the thing that mattered most was just that I got to be able to skateboard and go to punk shows. That was,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? So,
How much do you think that fit into the punk attitude? Like living that type of lifestyle?
I would say that it's as far as you can go. I mean, unless I don't know how much farther you can go into it, where you're like, you're doing it all yourself. You're
DIY.
at DIY. You know, you're doing rebellion. Rebellion is taking place.
Yeah.
You're fucking the system, right? You're getting
Gotcha. Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
taking down. I'm telling you, man. You're taking down people that probably aren't that good. Although, how good are you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, taken from and then going to deal to the same people that they were dealing to. Yeah, something about that adrenaline. I mean, it's one of the things that I talk about it all the time, but it's one of those things that like I really fucks with me because I have trouble living this life that's kind of boring. So I always have to find something to get into.
Yeah.
If I sit idly, man, it's just that's where because there's nothing once you hit those points of adrenaline, there's not too many other things. And I think that's why a lot of dudes end up becoming like drug addicts is drug addict dudes because it's hard to you can't top that like feeling of living that way and a lot of people have never ever even gotten close to that, but it's this feeling of just complete it's almost like living another reality. I mean, you are living another reality. You're not abiding by like the rules and that all these other people are. It's just there's something really fun about it. I mean, aside from like hurting people,
Well, I mean, you just had Sammy Town on your thing, on the podcast, and I mean, there's a guy that lived. I mean, he was when he was with the Acid family. Think about how fast of a life he was living. I mean, he was just living so fast, and that's why what happened in his life is because that adrenaline was just, and you can't take this, you know what I mean? And had I not been busted the way I'd been busted, I'm sure something bad might have happened in the end to where I couldn't just be sitting here going, yeah, it was a hoot.
yeah. So you were doing all that. So you had stopped robbing places up into that.
No.
You were still robbing convenience stores and
it just wasn't as lucrative is what I was saying.
Yeah.
It was more lucrative to go after the drug dealers.
Yeah, I would imagine so. And like less of a risk to get busted for those crimes, which I think is a plus.
Yeah, no, it's nice and easy.
Yeah. I did something similar to that, but not on that level. We used to go to like corner spots where we knew dudes were dealing, and most of them were like Paisos. This was like downtown LA area. But there was times where these guys would like keep drugs, like balloons in their mouths and shit. And like, I would put my finger in there, like searching around for like balloons and stuff. And it was just, I wish I would have had somebody around me that would have been able to like, no, if we're going to do it, let's do it right. You know what I mean? I did it like the most stripped down thuggish way you could do it. It was, like I said, always about the adrenaline, like, or stealing a car or robbing people. I wish I would have had that punk rock mentality of just trying to I would have ended like that dude Shane Enholm just robbing banks and shit. You know what I mean? Like trying to take them down. But so you're doing that simultaneously. How much time goes by?
A year.
About a year straight you're doing that?
To end, yeah.
Okay.
And so so you want me to tell you the end and how it even came to be?
Yeah. How yeah.
Okay, so I'm doing all that. And I got a girl that moved to Santa Rosa from Reno that really, wants to be my girlfriend and stuff. And And so, but I'm not really into a girlfriend or anything like that. I'm living really fast. And so I go to a rave with her one time, and at the rave I did some ecstasy. It was one that I didn't rob any. Did I rob? No, I didn't rob anybody at that one. And I did.
Did I rob anybody there?
I did some ecstasy, and it was too much. And so I'm kind of just sitting there, in the warehouse, and kind
What
of.
do you mean it was too much? I've never done ecstasy before.
It was like, it made my body tingle too much. It was like too emotional. It was overpowering. It was definitely too much ecstasy.
You get like super sensitive when you're on it.
Your skin gets freaking pins and needles like crazy, and your emotions swell, like you feel like you can't breathe, or you're about to cry a lot. I mean, that's an overdose of it, not standardly you're happy as all hell and everything's great.
Gotcha. I was gonna say that just sounds like having anxiety.
Right. It's exactly what that's exactly what overdosing on ecstasy felt like to me. It was a massive anxiety attack. And so anyways, I'm dealing with that, and she and her friends are in the rave dancing and doing all their crap. And afterward, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to quit doing armed robberies. I'm going to quit robbing. I'm going to move back to Reno. I'm going to let this girl, take care of me and help me get on my feet. And this is going to work out. So after the rave in the morning, because they went all night long, I offered to pay for breakfast for everybody, but they're all too high still. And so they say no, but so I go home with them all, and I go to Brooke, that's the girl's name. I go to her apartment, and I lay one armed robbery on her. I say, hey, I need to move in with you because I can't afford rent anymore, because I've done an armed robbery to pay for my rent, and I don't want to go down this road. And if you could help me, I'll pay you back, and I'll do everything I can for the apartment and for you. And she really liked me, you know what I mean? She might even love me, but I had done wrong because I had not given her attention this whole time. I had been there and I'd been gone, and then I'd been there and I'd been gone. And so she goes and tells her roommate, well, no, that's not right. So then it's on prime suspect. So then, and it's a string. It's not this isn't just one, like Paul told her. This is several.
Oh, gotcha.
And I'm on prime suspect, but you can't tell it's me. Excuse me. But because she knows of that one, she knows that whole thing is probably me. And she tells her roommate. Her roommate convinces her roommate's a girl too. Her roommate convinces her to call the police and tell on Paul. And and so she does that. I've moved down to Novato at this time, in Ignacio, as a matter of fact, just outside of Novato. And
do you say Novato?
Novato, yeah.
What is that?
North Bay. It's a town.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It's San Rafael, Novato, then it's Petaluma, and then it's Santa Rosa. But I've moved down to Ignacio, which is actually a little suburb of Novato, and I'm in a condo there, and I'm practicing skateboarding every day, all day, nonstop. I'm doing, nollie 360 shoves off of speed bumps, and just stuff that nobody. We were still trying to figure all that crap out back then.
I'm sorry. What year was this?
90, 91.
So yeah, like street skating just was at its infancy, really, right?
It's just getting its wheels on the ground.
Yeah.
About to turn into. As a matter of fact, at this time, the wheels are going whoop and becoming those little bearing covers. And the pants are getting gigantic, like freaking Vato freaking pants. Yeah, I wear a 30, but
Chinko. Shredded at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All of them though. There was all those different brands back then. So all that stuff's happening. Excuse me. So she had told her friend, and her friend convinced her to tell the police. So I'm getting ready. I talked to her. She didn't get back to me, right? So that was my choice. That was my chance, I should say. And she didn't get back to me. So I'm getting ready. I'm moving back to Reno on my own. But I'm going to go do one more hit. I'm going to rob one more place. And then I'm moving back to Reno. One more.
Oh, is the one more.
So the night before I'm going to go do this, I'm out skateboarding and I'm practicing ollieing the word stop, before stop signs, that big stop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm practicing ollieing that. I'm ollieing 180 it. I'm trying to do a kind of like an inward step off. Like it's a step off. Mike Vallely can do them really well, but it's a step off 180, but you're kind of ollieing at the same time so you can clear the whole word stop. But anyways, that's what I'm doing when I notice this car that keeps driving. It's driven by already twice, and I'm like, So I get a little bit further in the dark, and this is at night. I get a little further in the darkness, and I just kind of sit there and I watch, see if they go looking for me because I'm not there anymore. And they did. I was like, fuck, man, they're probably cops looking for me. They might be on to me. And I had no idea that Brooke said anything. And so I was like, whatever. And I went home, went up to, because this is like down from the condo that I'm living at. I went up to the condo. I loaded up my vehicle with everything. So it had the gun, it had the drugs, it had everything that it would convict me of all of this crap I'd done. And I put it in the Land Cruiser, and the next morning I wake up, I have this perfect place that I'm going to go nail in Santa Rosa, and that was it. And then I'd be gone. I was going to jump on the highway and cruise back to Reno right that same day. Well, I get in my vehicle, I start driving down the road, heading towards the freeway to head towards Santa Rosa, and a cop car behind me. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I have like I said, everything's right here next to me on the floorboard of the driver or the passenger side seat. And I look at it and I look at the lights. I'm like, fuck. And so I pull over and I'm hoping for the best, I'm hoping, oh man, maybe my tail lights out, maybe this, that. I pull over and I look down at that stuff again. And then I look like this, and there's a 9mm just right in my head. You know what I mean? Just straight in my head. Boom, on this side. There's a whole freaking group of dudes with guns on me, And they're
these like FBI, not like local law enforcement?
SWAT. Yeah, this is like SWAT. Because they have machine guns. They're totally armored up. They have all that shit. And they get me out and they get me on the ground. And so do we have the right to, or do we have your permission? Do we have your permission to search your vehicle? I said, fuck no.
Hell no.
He said, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He said, it doesn't matter. We'll have a warrant in no time. And so they went and they grabbed everything and they showed it to me. I'm laying on the ground with a knee and, in the freaking pit of my back there, just below my neck, and with a gun to my temple. And I'm like, fuck, man, I'm caught, man. And, but ultimately, I will be honest, like, I was kind of stoked that I wasn't dead, because I figured that when I got caught, I would be killed. You know what I mean? Because that was kind of life I was living. Because I was living, live fast, die young. I really, truly believed that was how it was going to all boil down to. You know what I mean? That would be the end game.
Right. Like you robbing a place and them coming in or something. Yeah, slow motion. Yeah.
All that. Yeah. Yeah.
Like falling down.
Movies, man.
It would have been the equivalent, because he had like a toy gun, so and they still shot him.
Yeah.
So you, damn, that's crazy, man. So you obviously found out that you were ratted on.
Well,
after the fact.
Right. So I'm sitting in Marin County Jail, which is also known as the Blue Roof Motel. And
why do they call it that?
Because it has a giant blue roof. They're huge. They're like old clay tiled blue. It's a trippy. If you ever see it, you trip on it. I'll send you a picture.
Yeah, hopefully I don't. Yeah, I'll just Google it.
On the inside.
Yeah. Well, we have like the Glass House down here. That's like pretty famous, and
right.
It's just funny the unique names that they have. So you're at this place.
I'm sitting in there and I'm not knowing what happened. You know what I mean? But I know Jason's busted too, because when we got busted, I was put into one holding tank and there was another holding tank next to me, and I said, "Hey, Jason," and so he had been at the condo and he got busted at the condo. They raided the condo. They were raiding the condo right after I left the parking lot. That's why I'm nailed down the street. They're nailing Jason at the place. And anyway, so I'm in the holding tank, and I said, Jason, and he said, yeah. I go, don't tell them you did anything, because I was going to take the fall for all of it, because I had grown up in the system and drug rehab, everything, everything. I've been in juvenile hall, I've been in a freaking mental institute, I've been in all of it. And so I was going to take the fall on all of it. Unfortunately, they had him on camera on one account, so he did have to do time.
He had to do time on that one.
He had to. But I took the weight on everything else. So beyond that, now, so he doesn't know, I don't know, and we're in Marin County Jail, and they kept us apart, and I'm just waiting. I'm like, what the fuck happened? And then that's when the thing comes on TV, the prime suspect, and then the news report, and then them talking with the girls and the different people that
shit,
had been through the different stuff with, and then so like 2 days later, I finally get an attorney visit. And I get an attorney visit, and they tell me that this is what happened, that you were ratted out by this girl and blah, blah, blah. And we have the recordings, and we're going to, play them for you. And
they had recordings
of them ratting me out.
Oh, gotcha.
So they had to play them for me so I could like poke holes in their story. Well, unfortunately, there was very few holes to poke in the story, because once you knew that I had done one of them, the MO was the same all the way across the board. You know what I mean? My method of offense. So anyways, so that was a hard thing to deal with, was sitting in that little visiting box, with the cage. You're in a little cage and listening to this girl, like, the detective was like, can I get you guys some sodas? Oh yeah. And they're drinking sodas, and they're just sailing me right down the river. A great time doing it, and I'm just sitting there going, damn, man.
Damn. I thought you loved me, baby.
Yeah, I was never mean to you. But
how long were you with her for?
Not even really ever.
Oh.
Like, I never called her my girlfriend. I didn't.
Oh.
So
that's why she ratted on you, because
there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
But
damn, man.
But anyways, yeah. So then that goes on, and then I go through, like, I have to go through court. So I get to see all of these people that I've robbed. I get to see them again in court, because I have to fight all these cases. Because in the beginning, three strikes you're out had just come out while I was in there. And that's why Prime Suspect also consolidated to become America's Most Wanted. And that was a thing that happened in Petaluma, as a matter of fact, to that little girl. But I had 11 counts. So then they decided they were going to charge me with life. You know what I mean? 15 to life. So I had to begin fighting in court and, going through the appeals process, which fricked up my sentence in the beginning, because what it would do is I would get in a program, and then they'd pull me out to court. And then I'd have to deal with all that. And then I'd go back to the program, then I'd start going again. And then boom, I get pulled out back to court, because I had to fight all these different, because like,
yeah, what do you mean to program?
Counties.
Yeah, what do you mean to program? Yeah, I was going to ask you, so when it's like multiple counties, what's the enforcement behind that? Like with state, crossing state lines is federal. Is there anything with the county?
No.
Like if you have multiple counties and they can stay.
They just, okay, you're going to do, 11 years concurrent on these cases that we have, but Marin County hasn't dealt with you yet, and neither has San Francisco County, and neither has, San Rafael, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay. And then Santa Rosa, which is Sonoma County, it was hard. And then I had to go back out twice for Sonoma County, because of the difference in how the robberies were done and what was involved. Because one was a subway, several were subway, and then one was an AM/PM. The AM/PM one, that guy, he actually was in court and sitting there, and I was looking at him like, wow, this is crazy, And I actually got an adrenaline jolt like my whole body just freaking came alive when I saw him, because they played the freaking video of me doing it. And I'm just watching myself just like, whoa, and boom.
You like disassociated, so it's probably like weird to see yourself doing it, right?
Then I start getting high in the courtroom with adrenaline, and I'm almost smiling, and I'm trying to like fight my way out of this. Like, no, that's not me. No. But,
Yeah. Well, you're like, yeah, smiling at.
Shit,
Yeah. So was the Subway owner there?
No.
Oh.
I saw him because he knows. I mean, believe me, I was loyal to that dude. I took care of him. So
yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So did you say you got convicted of 11 counts?
Yeah, I was convicted of 11 counts.
And then, so you got how much time?
In the beginning, 15 to life.
You got 15 to life. And then, but you had a paid lawyer, right? You didn't have a public defender?
Yeah, I had a public pretender.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And they were, what's up?
They railroaded you. It was like, there was
no, yeah. But you ended up not getting 15 to life.
Oh, you're talking about down the road. My mom had hired a real attorney.
Gotcha.
To fight the big number. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
That reduced to 15 and a half years, I guess, was what I wound up with. And then, of course, fucking up in prison, you add time to your freaking thing. So
you had gotten sentenced to 15?
15 and a half, yeah.
15 and a half with,
and of
was
all
it
appeals and everything?
85% back then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with good time, you could get halftime, but I mean, I was making pruno, I was fighting.
I had to do 85% of my time. There was no halftime for mine because it was a violent crime. That's what I'm saying. I think they probably, that's what I'm saying. They probably changed that where
they might have. I don't know, because I know I didn't do halftime. I would have loved to have done halftime. I would have been out, like a year.
It wouldn't have really mattered, right? Yeah, because I ended up doing more than my 85. I think I did like a month or two under my 5-year sentence.
Right.
So I mean, whether I had halftime or 85%, it really wouldn't have mattered,
Think about it. It could be death, dude. It could be over with,
Yeah. So the law finally caught up with you. You get 15 and a half years. How is that for you again? I mean, just a lot of the people on the show have been punk rockers that have gone to prison. How was it for you as like a culture shock?
Well, I knew I was all alone in the beginning. It was like, shit, man, there's nobody like me in here. I mean, my buddy Jason, but he got sent to a different pen. And so it was like, I remember going to Salon or being in San Quentin and like looking around for punk rockers on the tier. I was very high level in the beginning, like I was a 4, and it took me a while to get down to a 3, level 3. And but I remember being on the 5th tier in West Block, I believe, in San Quentin, and like just bikers and rednecks and jocks and idiots, and I was like, oh man, this is really not going to be fun. Luckily I came across certain people randomly that they weren't punks, they weren't skaters or whatnot, but they were at least decent to have a conversation with. And
well, how was it for you rolling up? I mean, like, so you were claiming Reno car, so there's no Reno people there, right?
Yeah, I didn't drive a car. When ask me, I'd be like, it's just me.
Yeah. I'm fucking on a unicycle right now, bro. But because typically you have to roll with your car or whoever or wherever county you're from. So you're not right off the bat, right? Like you had no ideas about prison prior to going there, right? Did you know any of the separation, segregation? What was your insights to prison before going there? Did you have any?
No, not to a great degree. I mean, like I had said earlier, I'd done time in juvenile hall, long period
Yeah.
of time. I even wound up having to go to high school in juvenile hall. Um,
And that was in Reno though, right?
I was in Reno, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Probably a
so,
little bit different, right?
yeah, but I understood the whole concept of like
Right.
everything's locked, you don't get to leave,
Right.
and and like you're treated like second class citizen.
Yeah.
But it was, it was overwhelming for a little bit, but then I'm like, I'm a survival. I'd already survived all the other shit, so like, let's keep doing this. And so then I'd find like meddlers, and I just pay attention to what kind of music people were listening to, what they were into, what they talk about. And so I'd find like meddlers and shit like that, people that I could relate to, and that was cool and stuff. Then when I got on an actual yard, um, let me see, were there any punks there?
Let me I'm gonna grab some coffee real fast.
Okay.
Okay. How much time do you got?
Not much more.
Huh? Do you got some 20? You got 22 minutes? No, these are like 12s. Sorry, I lied. 1 second. You were saying you were talking about when you had left, I guess wherever you were at to
Solano, and there was nobody there that I related to. And I got one of those music catalog books, and there were tapes in there that I would listen to. There was Danzig, there was Bad Religion, there was, weird stuff too that wasn't straight mainstream.
what was the name of the catalog again?
God, I wish I remembered. There was the
Somebody out there has to know. I'll look it up. Walking horse. Yeah, but that was for like Walkmans.
That was the big one. That was the big one. I'm talking about the thin one.
Yeah, the one that had the music. Yeah, it actually had the. I want to say R. It started with the R, but I don't know. Well, I'll
the name of that.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up. But yeah, I remember being blown away. Well, we had a thicker one by the time I was there. Like
Walking Horse one. That was actually Walking Horse.
Oh, it was
music catalog.
Oh,
that's it.
I remember we would go through. I had the one. I had spent time. I just remembered this. Spent time highlighting all the punk rock bands, and because they would
stars and shit.
Yeah. But there were so many. It was so fucking exciting. But we're gonna get to that in the next episode. But so you, because we have to do a part 2, because we really have to talk about your experience in prison, and then ultimately you finding this role or this position for yourself to look for other individuals that were like-minded. That for myself, we were like-minded. I didn't even know it.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, ultimately you're looking for anybody that wasn't all the people that were around you, which is a really hard thing to do.
Yeah, really hard in there. So you were at San Quentin Reception, then you went to Solano.
San Quentin Reception, then Solano, yes.
And then that was the prison that you were at.
Well, that was the prison that I was at for the moment, to where I could get a package. I could, you know what I mean? Like I was there for a moment. Then I went to go hurt somebody. So this is why I'm saying that this goes into bigger stuff.
Okay. Well, yeah, let's
hurt somebody and then end up in the hole. And then there's a whole story about that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot to unpack as far as like your experience in prison leading up to the point of when we first met. And I think we'll do that. Well, I don't think we will. We'll do that in part 2.
Okay.
And it's a long time coming. It's good to be able to sit and talk to you again. I think it's
been hectic, but yes,
what's up?
I said things have been hectic, but yes, I wanted to get this done
for you and for everybody on the face of the planet. There, Paul Morrison.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But it's been fun since I think we stopped doing it because things got pretty hectic for you, where like timing just was not on our side, and I think our friendship was it was at an impasse if we didn't figure it out, Oh yeah, Schlepp Rock Propeller. Yes, they went on.
Look at it's got the double reels.
Oh yeah.
Also,
What do you got on there?
It's also
Oh, you could pull it back a little bit. Upside down. Turn it upside down. Is that the band 15?
no.
Oh, 15. Oh, it's like a various artist. Oh, Lookout. What band is it?
That's a hard one to read right there.
Yeah, it's on Lookout Records.
Yeah, it's Lookout. This is better, says it right there.
Oh yeah, Ben Weasel. Oh, the compliment. Oh yeah, damn. I'm pretty sure that I probably listened to that when I was in there with you.
Oh yeah,
dude.
Sure.
Lookout had so many great bands.
But Ben Weasel was the one who put this whole comp together.
Yeah. Schlepp Rock went on to do Generators, right? Like they do from Schlepp Rock.
Great. Well, it was half and half. It was Ray SS and Generators.
Oh, that's right. We're actually gonna have
buddy
John Guerra. Yeah, Smokey. He's actually gonna be on the show. I'm gonna interview him. And
cool.
I didn't know that was like the split.
Yeah.
Those guys were from the SUV, right?
We're from San Gabriel Valley. Yes.
Yeah, San Gabriel Valley. Yeah, that's right. Damn. Man, I loved it so much to get into punk rock in prison. It's a really weird thing to say, and it was kind of cool with the it is, but the fact that I didn't get into it during the 70s and 80s, that had to be the time that I got into it, because I had to go through some of the struggles, that you guys had to go through with the Peckerwoods and whatnot, always talking shit. And then even ironically the skinheads, the fucking bonehead skinheads. But yeah, when I had mentioned it earlier, we're gonna wrap this up, doing the interview with Sammy Town from Fang, because you had introduced me to American Nightmare, and that album just it resonates to this day so hardcore. I love that album so much. But the fact that, and we'll talk about this in part 2 when we had a punk rock band, but being able to sing Guns Not Love for America, and when I told him that story, he said he was more stoked on that than Nirvana, covering their shit at some festival or whatever. What's up?
I said that's a hell of a statement, to be more proud of his song being sung on a prison yard than Nirvana covering it.
Yeah, big time.
They covered The Money Will Roll Right In, is what they covered.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it so much. And I look forward to talking about when we first got introduced to each other and hearing more about your story. Again, it's trippy. I've known you for how long, and just finding out some of the stuff, with you is really cool and interesting.
What year did we meet? 98? 99, 98.
I think it was like 99. Yeah, probably 99. Because I was on the 2 yard before I came to the 3 yard before my points went up. So I was there for 90. It may have been like the end of 98 and then 90. Yeah, it was more about 99, because it took us a little bit of time.
It must have been all of 99 and then all the way till October of 2000.
Yeah, it was a good solid almost 2 years. Yeah, it was a good solid 2 years that we had time, man. And again, celebrating my 20 years out.
Woo!
Yeah, it really is. I mean, a lot of it has to do with me wanting to change, you know what I mean? But like for us and the universe to bring us together at that time, that specific time in that moment, that really changed the course of my life. So I just want to say I love you, big homie. And yeah, you're more of a family to me than the family that I got. So, and I've known you longer than anybody that I've known out here, really, other than like my moms and my brothers. So I fucking love your face, and I'm gonna bite your chin when I see it.
I'm trying to get rid of it.
No, you have to keep it.
To your mom and to your brother and stuff. And the brother one was a little hard because of that woman kept just over the phone thing. You know what I mean? That was just like,
yeah, that was actually over the tablet. That was him inside his cell. You know what I mean?
But I mean, still though, like you're cruising along and then boom, you're interrupted. And then
I want that. Yeah, I mean, I could have taken that out, but I wanted people to know what that's like. Totally. And then on top of that, like a 15-minute phone call. Like it's really cool that my brother and I have we've been able to talk for an hour and a half.
That's
It's the longest conversation we have had since I was right before he got busted. You know what I mean? So
bringing in a sense of humanity too by doing that. You know what I mean? Like you can connect emotionally to your family there. That's killer.
Oh yeah, and I'm sending him pictures left and right, whatever it is that I'm doing. They still are working on the video system where you could send videos. That'll be a game changer too. But just being able to do the in-person video, they have to go to a kiosk. So I guess they have kiosks, right? And then like the dudes rush out. There's no sign up time, so it's kind of like dog eat dog in there. So yeah, he's had trouble like getting on or whatever because he's a bitch. I'm just joking. I'm just kidding. But yeah, we've had a couple times that we're able to actually have video chat, which is really cool. So and I think it'll be really cool to have more video chat with you, Paul Morrison, aka Sick Boy. And your boy's doing good?
Yeah, he's doing all right. I mean, he still doesn't feel very well, and I'm still just I don't fully feel it, but you know, I mean, I feel it. It's there.
Yeah, well, you've seen and experienced a lot of crazy shit. Would you care to actually mention what happened?
I don't know. I gotta wait on that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's that's the thing about it, is that I didn't even know if I wanted to, you know, like have him report it, because I'm like, shit, who knows what kind of situation this was, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It looked like just a homeless dude, but who knows what it could have been.
You know? Yeah, right. Yeah. So we're gonna just go ahead.
Yeah, for right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, until next time, I love you so much, man.
Love you
and
too.
This has been Screaming at a Wall podcast. Make sure you subscribe, you like it, you share it, you love it, you rub it. All right. Stay free, everybody. Peace.
Yep, late.
What are you rebelling against?
What do you got?
We were trying to change something.
Skateboarding is a way of learning how to redefine the world around you.
The owners of this country don't care about the poor and your
Now, baby, push me. Push me again now.
Screaming at a wall.